He just said the quiet part out loud when it comes to the New York Jets, two of their most recent additions, and we have to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Football 365. If you're a New York Jet fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But getting into the news for today, coming from the New York Jets themselves. John Metchie is a really good slot receiver, Aaron Glenn said. I'm not saying he can't play outside, but man, he is a master when it comes to route concepts in the slot, being able to punch in and out of routes, being able to create separation because of his quickness. Now, Aaron Glenn hyping up one of his players is something that you would always expect to see a head coach doing, especially when it's a team that is looking for things to get excited about. But it's what he said about new acquisition from the Philadelphia Eagles, John Metchie, that is very important. He specified Metchie's how good he is in the slot position. That is the guys just lined up. They're not really all the way wide outside to the sides of the fields. Those are your wide outs, your really wide receivers, but slot receiver is in between where your tight end would line up on the end of this line of scrimmage and where the wide receivers would line up on the end of the line. So Metchie's going to line up in that area, and Aaron Glenn is praising him for his route running ability when it comes to running route concepts. Concepts are just how offenses attack NFL defenses. It's route combination. So a concept is three routes combined. They combine together for a concept. So when he says running route concepts, it doesn't make perfect sense in the world, but John Metchie is a good route runner. Ever since he came out of the University of Alabama, he was a second-round pick, but unfortunately got cancer, which is why he was not able, or one of the reasons why he was not able to find a role in the NFL with the original team that drafted him, the Houston Texans. He was traded over to the Philadelphia Eagles, where he really didn't make a whole lot happen as well, but then he was soon able to get it together, and now he's going back to the New York Jets, or not back to, but he's going to the New York Jets, and we're going to see what we can make of him. This is just another example of Darren Muji, our general manager, picking up guys with low risk and high reward, because John Metchie, being a second-round pick, coming from a big-time school, this is a guy with real talents that just need the right coach and the right system and just opportunity in the NFL to be able to find the perfect role for him in the NFL. But Aaron Glenn didn't stop there when it came to talking about the new pickups. He said, when you look at AD, man, talking about Adonai Mitchell, the new pickup over from the Indianapolis Colts, he said, man, he's a true X receiver, and he is one that can go win the one-on-one battles. Slants, digs, go balls. So we're going to try to use those guys to do what they do best. So Adonai Mitchell was picked up from the Indianapolis Colts. They drafted him in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Adonai Mitchell was out of the University of Texas, where he put up some pretty solid stats in his final year, but was not able to find a footing with the Indianapolis Colts. He was drafted with the expectations for him to be the Alec Pierce replacement for the Indianapolis Colts. He was going to be a deep threat running, just X wide receiver routes. An X wide receiver lines up all the way wide out to the sideline, and he lines up on the line of scrimmage. And when you are lined up on the line of scrimmage, that means the defense can play you with a press man corner, which means it's a cornerback just lined up all the way to the line of scrimmage, and he's going to be able to jam you at the line of scrimmage. So you have to make sure your X wide receiver is someone who is bigger and more physical, and someone who is heavy enough combined with a wide enough frame to be able to take that jam and not be completely knocked off their route. You have to be ready to continue to run and continue to run your route at a high level, whatever it is, after you get hit by the cornerback. So this team, the New York Jets, we've kind of been looking for an X wide receiver. We signed Allen Lazard in free agency a couple of years ago to be the X wide receiver. That unfortunately did not work out, but think about our wide receiver room. We don't have a big body guy. Adonai Mitchell he's about 6'2", so he's a very tall wide receiver. But Tyler Johnson, he's a slight smaller wide receiver. Garrett Wilson, fantastic wide out, but the problem with Garrett Wilson is he's very slight. He's got skinny shoulders, and he's a light guy. Isaiah Williams, small kick returner. John Metchie, more of a slot fit, a smaller guy. Arian Smith, he's an X wide receiver, but he's not good. Never was good at Georgia. I really wish we didn't draft him. And then Josh Reynolds is on IR. Josh Reynolds is someone who is big enough to play the X wide receiver position, but I do feel like Adonai Mitchell was a highly underrated pickup in the Sauce Gardner trade. Not only did you get the 2 first-round picks for Sauce, but you also picked up a wide receiver who still has untapped potential in the NFL. It's only his second year. The Indianapolis Colts have a fantastic core of wide receivers with Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce, and they have a great tight end as well. So they already have a ton of receiving weapons, which is what left Adonai Mitchell on the outside looking in. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily bad. He's just not as good as those wide receivers who all have already well carved out roles for the Indianapolis Colts, and Adonai Mitchell just wasn't able to break into that. So now, how is he going to fit with the New York Jets? He's going to line up on the outside. He's going to take that press man corner. So now Garrett Wilson is freed up to go in motion or line up in the slot and move all over the formation. I would love to see Garrett Wilson lined up in the backfield as a running back, because that would get him a man-to-man matchup with a linebacker or a safety, which would be a crazy mismatch. But so far, Tanner Engstrand has not been creative enough to give us anything resembling that, but I would love to see Garrett Wilson lined up as a running back, not to hand him the ball, but just to give the defense a different look. And when Adonai Mitchell is on the outside, where Garrett Wilson may be lining up a fair percentage of the time, you free up that role for Garrett Wilson to go over and do whatever he wants outside of that. So this depth chart was severely lacking, and it honestly still is lacking at the wide receiver position. We love Mason Taylor, who is currently currently starting tight end, second receiving option for Justin Fields. But whoever our quarterback is going to be going forwards, whether that is Justin Fields or someone else, we got to make sure we pick up more receivers. I mean, this receiving room, it would be tough for anyone other than like a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type of quarterback to make this thing work. This offense, it just does not have enough playmakers. Breece Hall, the news on Breece Hall is he now wants to get re-signed after wanting a trade at the deadline, and I'm happy to re-sign him. If we can get him for like $10 million for the future, I would bring back Breece Hall, see what he can do. We need more pass catchers, and Breece Hall is someone who can be a high-level pass catcher when it comes to running backs, and he's someone who can even line up as a wide receiver in the passing game as well. So we do have Breece Hall. Right now we got Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Breece Hall are unfortunately the only 3 options that we have at wide receiver. We are going to see whether or not Adonai Mitchell or John Mechie can fit into a role. If I had to put money down on it, it would be Adonai Mitchell, because he is playing a role as that X wide receiver that the New York Jets currently don't have. And an important point that I haven't made yet is Arian Smith was drafted out of Georgia in the 4th round. The expectation for that draft pick was for him to become the Jameson Williams of the New York Jets offense. We know Aaron Glenn looks at his old team, the Detroit Lions, and he is pretty much trying to copy them, copy how they built the team, going offensive line first and then copying them past that. So one of the things that they have is they have that deep threat wide receiver who can not only take the top off of the defense at any time, the more consistent thing that receiver does is he drops the safeties back and forces them to line up farther back. So the run game is more effective, and getting Amon-Ra St. Brown for them and Garrett Wilson for us, getting those guys open underneath is what that deep threat really does for an offense. And it's also going to free up, in our case, Mason Taylor as well. So that's what Arian Smith was drafted to do. But Adonai Mitchell has 4.3 speed. We saw that in the draft. He's extremely fast. He's going to be able to play that role better than Arian Smith probably ever could in the NFL. He's got a ton of drop problems. He's really, really fast, but so is Adonai Mitchell, and Mitchell doesn't have the drop problems, doesn't have the horrible route running of Arian Smith. So I'm very excited for Adonai Mitchell. I think there's a not better than 50% chance that he's good, but I think there's a highly realistic chance that this is a player that sticks around with the New York Jets, and he's someone that people are going to say, I can't believe we got 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell for Sauce Gardner, even when, not if, Sauce Gardner goes off with the Indianapolis Colts, because he's a fantastic corner. They have a better scheme for Sauce Gardner than we do. Sauce is going to go crazy. And Adonai Mitchell, people are going to say, wow, I can't believe the New York Jets got him on top of everything else that they got, hopefully nailing the draft picks. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Jets.